Denver has always been a city that moves fast. From a dusty gold rush outpost to a sprawling metropolis of over 700,000 people, it has never been a city that waits around. But what's happening right now is different. This isn't incremental improvement. This is reinvention on a scale Denver has never attempted before. $10 billion. That's what's being committed across a wave of projects that will reshape how people move, where they live, what they see when they look out their window, and whether this city finally makes good on promises it has been making for decades to communities that have been waiting far too long. Will Denver pull it off? If you're fascinated by how cities transform themselves, then stick around. We're going to break down 5 projects that will define Denver between now and 2030. Let's get into it. Project 1. East Colfax BRT links. Colfax Avenue is one of the most famous streets in America, and not always for the right reasons. Playboy once called it the longest, wickedest street in America. For decades, it has been Denver's most chaotic, most congested, and most culturally alive east-west corridor. A place where dive bars share sidewalks with taqueries, where immigrants built businesses, where artists found cheap rent, and where the bus has always been the only option for thousands of people who can't afford a car in an increasingly expensive city. Now, for the first time in its history, Colfax is getting transit infrastructure worthy of the people who depend on it. The East Colfax BRT, branded as Lynx, is a $300 million project that is fundamentally rebuilding Denver's busiest transit corridor from Broadway all the way east to Yosemite Street. This isn't a paint-the-curb-and-call-it-a-day bus rapid transit project. Crews are constructing center-running dedicated transit lanes in both directions, meaning buses will no longer be trapped behind turning cars and double-parked delivery trucks. New elevated stations are rising along the corridor, designed for quick boarding, real-time arrivals, and weather protection. Major streetscape improvements are coming with them: trees, lighting, wider sidewalks, safer crossings. Here's what makes this project even more remarkable. Underneath Colfax, Denver Water is simultaneously executing a massive replacement of 130-year-old underground pipes. Pipes that have been there since before Colorado was fully electrified. The surface work above and the pipe work below are being carefully coordinated so the street doesn't have to be torn up twice. That kind of infrastructure layering is exactly what cities get wrong when they're in a hurry, and exactly what Denver is trying to get right this time. The Lynx BRT is expected to be fully operational by January 2027. When it opens, it will cut travel times significantly, improve reliability for one of the most transit-dependent ridership bases in the region, and signal to the rest of the city that Denver is serious about investing in corridors that have historically been underserved. But the stakes go beyond commute times. Colfax is a neighborhood spine. How the BRT interacts with existing businesses, with pedestrian life, with the cultural character of the corridor, that will matter just as much as whether the bus runs on time. Project 2. RTD Downtown Rail Reconstruction. Every city has infrastructure it has been quietly ignoring for years, quietly hoping it holds together just a little longer. For Denver, that infrastructure is the aging light rail intersections threading through the heart of downtown. They were built decades ago, and they have been carrying growing ridership ever since, while the rail network expanded outward and the original downtown core was never fully modernized to match. That changes now. The Regional Transportation District is currently executing a multi-phase, block-by-block rebuild of downtown Denver's light rail intersections. This is not a single project with a clean ribbon-cutting moment. It is a grinding, methodical infrastructure overhaul being done while the system continues to operate, because Denver cannot simply shut down downtown rail service for 2 years while crews work. It is the transit equivalent of replacing the engine on a plane while it's flying. The goal is to replace the oldest sections of the network, the track, the intersections, the supporting infrastructure, with components designed for the system's current and future demands. The result will be smoother, quieter, and more reliable train service connecting downtown Denver, the Rhino Art District, and the Stadium Corridor. Why does this matter beyond the engineering? Because unreliable transit is a self-defeating problem. When trains run late, when track problems cause delays, when riders get frustrated and switch to driving, that increases traffic congestion, reduces farebox revenue, and makes it harder to justify future investment. The RTD reconstruction is about breaking that cycle. making the existing system perform well enough that the public can trust it, and that trust can become the foundation for the next generation of expansion. The challenge is execution. Block-by-block reconstruction in a dense urban environment means constant coordination with businesses, events, road closures, and the just-in-time logistics of a living city. RTD's track record on large projects has faced scrutiny in recent years. This reconstruction is, in part, an opportunity to demonstrate operational competence at the scale Denver's ambitions require. Project 3: Skyline Park Revitalization. Not every project that defines a city is measured in billions. Sometimes the most consequential investments are the ones that change how people feel about being downtown. Skyline Park, located in the heart of downtown Denver along Arapahoe Street, broke ground on its Phase 1 revitalization in early 2026. The $30 million renovation is a complete redesign of one of downtown's most visible and underperforming public spaces. The goal is simple to state and genuinely difficult to execute: make it more accessible, safer, and vibrant for public life. For years, Skyline Park struggled with the same challenges that plague urban parks across America: inadequate programming, poor sightlines, design choices that prioritized aesthetics over usability, and the perception, sometimes the reality, that certain parts of the space were not welcoming to everyone. The revitalization is addressing all of that. New layouts, modern amenities, improved lighting, and a programming strategy designed to bring consistent activation to the space throughout the year. Completion is slated for mid-2027. When it reopens, Skyline Park will become a test case for whether Denver can build the kind of everyday public space that defines great urban neighborhoods. Not a landmark destination, but a place people use Tuesday at noon and Saturday evening and every season in between. Here's why this matters for the larger $10 billion picture. The biggest transit projects and development corridors in Denver only succeed if the public realm in between them is worth spending time in. Infrastructure moves people. Public space gives them a reason to stay. Skyline Park is a $30 million investment in exactly that proposition. Project 4: Civic Center Next 100, Phase 1. If Skyline Park is about creating something new, the Civic Center Next 100 project is about honoring something old and making sure it survives the next century. Denver's Civic Center Park is one of the most architecturally significant public spaces in the American West. The Greek Theater, the Central Promenade, the formal plazas, the ensemble of civic buildings surrounding it. It was designed to announce, to anyone who saw it, that Denver had arrived as a serious city. For most of the 20th century, it delivered on that promise. But time is undefeated, and decades of deferred maintenance have taken their toll. The structures are aging. The infrastructure underneath the park is failing in places. The experience of visiting has drifted from inspiring to neglected. Phase 1 of Civic Center Next 100 is currently under construction, with work focused on structural and aesthetic improvements to the historic Greek Theater, the Central Promenade, and the South Plaza. This is painstaking restoration work, the kind that requires as much expertise in historical preservation as it does in modern construction. Every decision has to balance fidelity to the original design with the practical demands of making the space functional and safe for contemporary use. Work is scheduled to wrap up in the summer of 2027, in time for a park that has stood for over a century to begin its second 100 years on solid footing, literally and figuratively. The Civic Center is where Denver holds its largest public gatherings. It is where protests and festivals and inaugurations happen. It is, in the most meaningful sense, the physical expression of what the city believes about itself. Getting this restoration right is not just a preservation project. It is a statement about civic identity. Project 5: World Trade Center Denver at Fox Park. Save the biggest for last. On 41 acres in Globeville, one of Denver's oldest, most working-class, most industrially burdened neighborhoods, something extraordinary is under construction right now. The World Trade Center Denver at Fox Park broke ground on vertical construction in mid-2025 and is currently in full build mode. What is rising on this former industrial land will, when complete, be one of the most ambitious mixed-use developments in Denver's history. The numbers are staggering: 3,400 residential units, 14 acres of public parks featuring landscape design from the Denver Botanic Gardens, commercial space, and a genuine attempt to weave a new neighborhood into the fabric of a community that has spent generations absorbing industrial pollution and infrastructure burdens, highways, rail yards, smelters, while watching investment flow elsewhere. The 14 acres of parks alone represent a remarkable commitment. Public green space, designed by one of the most respected botanical institutions in the country, embedded into a neighborhood that has historically had almost none. These aren't decorative amenities for luxury residents. They are meant to be genuinely public, accessible to Globeville families who have been there for decades alongside whoever moves into the new units. That tension between new development and existing community is the most important story in this project. Globeville has faced displacement pressure for years. It sits at the confluence of I-25 and I-70, one of the most environmentally impacted locations in Colorado. Residents have been fighting for better conditions, better transit access, and basic recognition for a long time. Fox Park has the potential to channel investment into the neighborhood in a way that benefits people who are already there. It also has the potential, if not managed carefully, to accelerate exactly the displacement that residents fear. The project is advancing. The construction is real. The ambition is genuine. Whether it delivers equitable outcomes alongside impressive square footage will be the measure by which Denver, and Globeville, ultimately judges it. Denver is betting $10 billion on the next chapter of its story. Some of these projects are already reshaping the physical city. The construction cranes are up. The question, as always, in every city that has ever attempted reinvention at this scale, is whether Denver can finish what it starts, and whether finishing it means something real for every community in this city, not just the ones that have always had everything. What kind of Denver do you see emerging on the other side? Drop your take in the comments. And if stories like this one interest you, subscribe. We cover the world's boldest infrastructure projects, and Denver is just getting started.